Okay, so in this training today, what we are striving to learn is we are going to learn the process, the collaboration process between state assessed and the counties during the abstract process. And hopefully we are going to understand what is required of the counties in order to successfully submit your abstract to us. Okay, first and foremost, New Mexico County assessors are responsible for submitting an abstract of the information contained in the property tax schedule to the county treasurers, as well as state assessed on or before October 1st every single year. And you can find this information under section 73835. Okay, some people honestly, to be truthful, don't know what an abstract is and don't know what it should include. So we're going to go over that real quick. Basically, an abstract is a summary or an in-depth analysis of a particular subject. And the abstract is also a permanent record of your county's historical value. So once it's done, it's done. It can't be changed. From 73835, as to the property in the county subject to property taxation under the property tax code, the abstract shall include the valuation of different kinds of property, the taxable values, the exemptions allowed against those taxable values, and then the net taxable values. Property in your county also includes property that is valued by us that we submit to you during certification. Okay, kinds of property are land, improvements, personal property, as well as mobile homes. The abstract will also include livestock, as well as your exemptions. Your exemptions are head of household, veteran organizations, disabled veterans, other exemptions such as federal government, religious and educational organizations, as well as just regular veteran exemptions. Okay, how do the counties submit their abstracts to state assessed? It's pretty easy. Like I had mentioned, we are utilizing the portal. Just as we did with certification, the counties utilize the SAEF portal to complete the following summaries. So Dave is going to go over this in detail with you. I just want to kind of give you guys a quick glance at what it is that you're going to be looking at in the portal. So you'll have 3 summaries. You will have the property summary, which consists of 5 tabs. CAB stands for Centrally Assessed Bureau. You'll have the Improvements tab, Land tab, Mobile Homes tab, Personal Property tab. Improvements, land, and personal property are categorized as residential, non-residential, and agricultural. Mobile homes are categorized as residential and non-residential, and all property that is assessed by this bureau is categorized as non-residential. Your livestock summary consists of 10 tabs, which is a category for each animal, basically each animal category, and all livestock is categorized as non-residential. And then you have your exemption summary, which consists of 5 tabs: the disabled vet, head of household, other exemptions, veteran, and veteran organization. Just an FYI, take note of this. Your disabled veteran is categorized as residential, head of household, other exemptions, and veteran are categorized as residential and non-res, and your veteran organization is categorized as non-residential only. So now we're going to go ahead and Dave's going to go ahead and take over from here so he can get you guys going as far as navigating the portal and understanding what it is that needs to be done in the portal.
All right, can everybody hear me all right? All right, let me get my slides up. So we'll go through some slides, then I'll go and do a live demonstration. So if you have questions as we're going through, feel free to put them in the chat. I'll try to keep my eye on things and respond as possible. So I haven't done this training in a year. Forgive me if I'm a little rusty, but I think we'll get through it. So as Jacqueline talked about, we're going to be talking about the SAFE portal today. This is the platform that the state uses to manage your valuation certification and abstract filings. They also use the same software to manage the centrally assessed filers. So obviously you guys went through the value cert process in the late spring, early summer, and did the value cert forms, the 3, the 11, and if you had special districts, the 13. So today we're going to be focused on the abstract forms, which are 3 forms: the property summary, livestock summary, and exemption summary. So this all kind of follows along with what Jacqueline just talked about. This is the filing timeline as we go through the year. On June 1st or, thereabout, if there's an extension, the state certifies their values. You and the county certify those values back. DFA and PED use those values for rate setting, and then in the fall you submit your abstract. So at this point in the year, it's hard to believe we're almost at October 1st already. I don't know what happened to 2023. The time seems to fly by, but here we are talking about abstract submission. You may recall the former abstract was in Excel, and there were 3 separate tabs: the property, livestock, and exemption. Essentially what we've done is brought that same information into the application. I think for most of you, if you're a new assessor, you've never used this before, obviously, but for those of you who've been around for a while, I think this is the 3rd year of e-file for these forms. When you log in, you'll land on your basic home screen interface. It's the same place that you filed the 3, 11, and 13. This is a screenshot from Catron County. You can see they filed their valuation certification forms, and then down below it is the abstract form group. So that's the form group you'll want to be working on. They have their own tasks and due date, but nothing changed from valuation certification as far as how to get in or where to go. It's just a different form group that you'll be working on. When you click on that abstract form group, it's going to take you to the page with the respective tasks on it. So you'll have the 3 tasks we talked about: the property, livestock, and exemption summary. And then you also have your certification task, which you'll complete at the end of the filing, and I'll talk about that workflow. So essentially you can complete the forms in any order you want. You can do the livestock form first, you can do the property form, you can do the exemption. I'll talk about uploads for this year, and you can actually upload all the information at once if you have an upload file. But essentially you need to complete each of the individual forms. Once those are done, you can complete your certification task. Your certification task is what allows you to certify to the state that you're done with the filing, and it packages up your information and ships it off for review. Once you complete your certification, you cannot edit your information anymore. It's in the state's possession. You can get it returned to you. So say you need it back, you want to change something, or the state's asked you to make a change, the forms can always be sent back to what we call a draft or in progress status. But essentially the key to remember is that you have to complete all of the respective forms before you can do the certification task. That certification task is your last step in the process. So here we see once again that form home screen. You can see those 3 tasks and then your certification step, and it says submission for the abstract as well. But if you're wondering what the status is of your forms, you can look in the rightmost column. It will show you if they're in progress or completed. By default, everything is listed as in progress. That in progress status basically is saying that it's available for you to work on. You haven't marked anything as complete. Once you've sent all your information in, of course, that in progress status will be all read completed. So just quickly, what do the actual forms themselves look like? This is the homepage. This is actually an old image. You don't have to enter any centrally assessed value anymore. The state automatically populates that. But essentially on your property form, you have tabs running across the top of the screen that break down the information into different categories. You have centrally assessed, improvements, land, mobile homes, personal property. In the table, you see by tax district running along in the rows. We have the number of residential parcels and their value, non-res and their value, ag and their value. So as users previously, prior to this year, you had to key in this information or type it in. Now there is an upload available. It's up to your vendor if they're compliant with that upload or not. There's a specification that's pretty standard. I know Triadic has built a file. I'm not sure about some of the other vendors. If you have questions about the file, you can reach out to us. But essentially, you can either type in the information or upload it, and that will populate the data into the form for you. Down below, you see what we call the combined summary, which just brings all of your data together from all the respective tabs to show you a summary of your information. I'll be going into a live demonstration in a few minutes as well. So the livestock summary looks very similar, except that you see running across the top of the screen, rather than property types, we have different animal types. So you can see alpaca, llama, bison, etc. In this case, you'll put in the number of, in this case, it says livestock parcels, but it's really the number of head and the livestock value. The exemption form looks very similar, has the different types of exemptions running across the top of the screen, and you enter the res number of parcels and value for each of those respective categories. So as far as the data that the abstract captures, it's no different than it's ever been. It's just an electronic capture of the information now. Your certification task is pretty straightforward. It literally is that last step before you send your data off to the state. You check the box that says you're certifying the information is true and correct. You can type in any additional comments you want, and then you can hit the blue complete button. When you do that, the data gets shipped off to the state for review. Once you submit information, you'll receive an alert. An alert is just an internal notification in the system. You'll get an email that says an alert was generated, and if you log in, you'll be able to see the alert on your homepage, and it's just going to tell you if your form has been submitted, approved, returned back to you for review. Anytime you get an alert, the email that you receive will only tell you that an alert has been generated. You always have to log into the application to see what the alert is. So the state can request a resubmission from you. In that case, the state will send the form back, and when they make that request back to you, they will type in why they're sending the form back. I'm sure many of you would receive a phone call or other communication from the state as well, regarding it. But if you do receive an alert and it says that your forms have been returned to you, you'll note that your forms have been set back to in progress, meaning the state has returned everything. You can now edit information, and you'll have to go back through the submission workflow again. If you're on a form that's had a resubmit request on it, you'll see a box in the bottom of the form that will have the resubmission comments. And so that's where the state can type in any reasons why they've asked you to resubmit. Like I said, if the state's asking you to resubmit, I'm sure you're going to hear other communication from them, but that is noted here. So the upload, as we talked about, how that works is that you're able to upload a form that meets a specific format. The upload can be done in any of the forms, so it can be done in the property, livestock, or exemption, and it will populate the data across all of them. The upload captures all of the form data at once. When you upload a file, you'll get a message that says the upload is in progress. We use a bulk upload process, so every 5 minutes we grab all the files that are ready to be processed and do them at once. So you'll receive a notification that your file's in progress. I'll show you what that looks like. When we log into the app in a minute, you'll see that you have a gray upload button in the upper right-hand corner. Selecting that will take you to a page where you can pick a file and attach it. When you do that, the system will display this blue ribbon across the top of the page saying your file is currently being processed. Once this file is complete, the message will either go away or it'll give you a different message saying the file failed for some reason. You don't have to stay on the screen. You can leave and come back later. It's not something you have to wait for if you're busy doing something else. The file will run, and then whenever you come back to it, you'll see data or you'll see an error message. This is an example of what that error message would look like. It says the upload file is invalid. Please review the file format. Basically fix the file and re-upload, please. If the file is successful, you won't see any blue ribbon and you will see data populated within the forms. Two very annoying things that you're going to experience. IT has made some requirements or changes to their requirements for all the state applications. The first one is that all passwords are now 15 characters long. Like it wasn't hard enough to remember a password before this, now you have an even longer password. And the other is that you'll get two-factor authentication. So when you log into the application now, you'll land on a screen that looks like this, and it asks you to enter an authentication code. That authentication code is automatically emailed to you when you log in. So you'll get an email that looks like this, you'll copy and paste the code. No different than if you were logging into, a banking website or so many other websites now that require two-factor authentication. Once you enter that code into the page, you click the green continue button and you'll log into the application. So something to be aware of. Those two things have changed since July 1st of this year. There's help available throughout the application. You can always click on the help icon on the left-hand side menu. I'll show you where some of the integrated help is as well. You can reach out to us at the help desk if you have any IT-related issues. That can be at support@axiomnh.com, or when we get to the demonstration, I'll show you where you can do that directly from the application itself. All right, time to get into the demonstration. I'm happy to take questions while I get teed up for that. So if anyone has questions, please feel free. Feel the excitement in the air. All right, let me switch my browser view. So everyone should be looking at an application. I'm logged into Catchment County. I just happen to be using last year since I'm on a test server, but this is where you will land as a user when you log in. If for some reason you work in multiple counties, you'll have access to those counties through your select list. You'll see the abstract form group down below. When you click on that, and I'll actually zoom in just a little bit here, just like we looked at before, you'll see your different tasks. We have our exemption, livestock, property, and our certification. A couple things to note. You as a user can attach anything you want to your filing as well right here in the attachments tab. Just hit that blue attachments button. You can also request an extension by selecting that blue request extension button. It will populate information for you. You'll have to give a reason, and the state will either approve or deny that extension. So as we talked about, our goal is to take all of these forms that have a status of in progress and get them set to complete. I'll start with the first form, the property summary. When I click on it, it looks just like we had talked about. You can see here that we have all of our property information. Note that on the centrally assessed tab, which is our first tab, because they go in alphabetical order, I can't enter anything. And that's because the state now rolls the values automatically into this form. There's no more of the back and forth of the state gives you the centrally assessed, then you report it back to them. The state is saying, we know what the official values are. Those are the values that we're putting onto the abstract. So you don't have to worry about centrally assessed values. The state will roll those automatically into the form. You can go to any of the other tabs like improvement, land, mobile homes, personal property, and you can just start typing in information. Obviously, for many of you, you'd prefer just to upload a file, which you can do in the upload up here, which we'll talk about. But you can also just start typing in and use the tab order. I don't think Catron County has that many res parcels, but we'll just go with it. So you can just fly through and start entering information. At the bottom, you have 4 buttons. Cancel, which is just gonna bail you out of the page and take you back. It will give you a warning before it does it, obviously. Save and return, which will save your information and take you back to where you were, which is the form group page. Or you have the save button itself, which will save your information and hold you on the form. Obviously, the complete button is when you're done filling out the information, you want to file the form or mark it as complete, you'll hit that. But we don't want to do that until we're actually done entering information. A couple other things to note here, you have filer comments, so you as a filer can type in information if you want. So if there's something you want to note to the state about the abstract that you think is important, you can type it in here. You also have the ability to run reports. You can run data reports, you can run PDF reports. So once you have your information into the system, those reports are available to you. So, like I said, most of you may choose to type your information in. I'm going to go to the other forms so we can look at them. That's property. Livestock looks very similar, except you can see we have different types of livestock running across the top of the screen. So you can see bison and goats or whatever. Once again, you can enter the information in if you choose to. Finally, you have the exemption summary. The exemption summary, you can see I had uploaded a file here and it's giving me a message. The exemption summary will give you, once again, a breakdown of your different exemption types across the top of the screen. You can see for disabled vet, you're unable to enter non-res because it's all a res only exemption type. So the forms are very straightforward as far as the information they capture. What's important to note is that you don't have to type data into each form. You can go to the upload button and upload a file. And when you upload an abstract file, and it has to be a certain structure, you can't just upload anything, it automatically populates the data for all 3 forms. So if I upload a file here and I browse and pick the file and upload, I'll just grab one here for the purposes of our demonstration. It's not even the correct file, but we'll do it just to walk through the process. So I get a message saying the file is currently being processed. Refresh the screen if you want to see if it's been uploaded. I can also walk away. I can log out. I can hit the help page and go look at help information. You know, I can do a number of things from here. I don't have to stay on the page while the file is uploaded. When the uploader grabs it, it's going to do one of 2 things. It's going to process successfully and populate your forms with the appropriate data, or it's going to give you a message saying the file you uploaded was incorrect. If the file you uploaded is incorrect, you're going to want to look at the file, reach out to the help desk, potentially reach out to your vendor. Depends where the problem ultimately lies. Once your upload is successfully completed, it won't get you out of hitting the blue complete button. All it does is pre-populate all the data for you. So once your upload is complete, you just go in and hit the complete buttons and that will close out all the respective forms. I'm going to hit complete now just to give you an example. So once I hit that form and I mark it completed, you can see my other forms are still in progress. If I go to my certification task and I try to complete it, it's not going to let me. It's going to tell me I have forms that still have to be dealt with. So at this point, I'll want to go through and complete my other forms. I'm going to do something which I do not encourage you to do, which is just complete them with terrible information in them. So once I've done that, my forms are complete. I now can complete that certification step. When I complete my certification step, it sends the data off to the state. Now I can go into any of my forms and I can look at them. You can see that they're still, read only essentially. I just got an alert on my phone saying that I had submitted data. If I go back to my home page now, you can see that I have an alert here saying I submitted my abstract. So at this point, I'll want to just sit back and wait until my form is approved. You can see I have a date and time that I approved, that it was submitted. So the state now is going to do one of two things. They're going to approve my form and I'll get notification that it got approved, or they will return it back to you and you'll get notification that the state has returned the form for some type of revision or correction. The process is probably simpler than the valuation certification because they're not special districts you have to deal with. You're not looking at growth or any of these more complex things. It's really just reporting totals in a lot of different categories. Questions so far? We'll take a look at the chat. I haven't noticed questions. Does not look like it so far. I'm gonna give everyone another minute in case anyone has a question they want to either ask or type in. All right, no questions. So really at this point, the only thing you need to be aware of is that the upload button will not appear in production until tonight. We are doing an update this evening, which will enable the upload for all of you. Beyond that, I think you all should have accounts and the ability to get in. If you don't, you can reach out to us at the help desk. You can always get to the help by clicking right here on the primary menu. It'll take you right to our help page. You can also submit a help desk ticket right from there as well. So, I don't want to belabor the point. I'm happy to answer questions or go back over anything if people have areas they want to discuss. But otherwise, that covers my, 25-30 minute overview of how to file information in the system. So I have two questions. Are livestock improvements required to be keyed? We do not have such a code. I don't think there are any livestock improvements. Jacqueline, I'd probably defer that question to you. And no, we are not available on weekends. Our help desk runs regular business hours, Monday to Friday. Mike, you're asking for me to show the triadic upload. Do you mean the file itself or how you would upload?
The file itself and the upload.
Okay. So in the upload is what I just showed. You would go to any of the available form. I have to switch. Sorry, I submitted here. How you run it out of their system, I cannot tell you. That is a triadic question. Chavez doesn't run. Obviously, I have a lot of filers in here. So anyone uploading, no matter who your vendor is, all you need to do is go to any of the forms and hit the upload button. And it's just going to ask you to browse for the file. As far as what the upload looks like, let me pull up an upload. And there's a document that we can send out to everyone that all of the vendors have that shows them how to format things, but I will just switch my screen over 1 second. So essentially, the upload for an abstract is a very simple thing. This is an extraneous row, but there are a few coded values that, we give out to the vendors. One is the federal ID code for your county, which is the FIPS code. So many of you might use that for other things. It's just 35 is New Mexico, and then all the counties get an odd number sequential. We use a coded ID for every tax district, so every tax district has a number. So, in this case, 109 represents, something in Luna, maybe one in. I don't know the Luna tax districts off the top of my head. Tax year, obviously. And then what you see in the rest of the form is literally the fields that you would key into. Land value, land count. Oh, sorry, land res value count. Land non-res value, non-value count. Ag value, ag count. Improvement residential, improvement non-res, improvement ag. So the improvement ag, to that question before, I'll have to defer you to PTD on that question. Goes through all your mobiles. Then you see all the different livestock types. So cattle, dairy, sheep, horse, goat, swine, etc. And then if you keep going down the file, it's just going to go from livestock, it stops there, and it just gives exemptions. So it's basically just rattling off all the information in the upload file. So the vendors all have had this capability. Triadic actually built a file at the last second last year, and we weren't ready for it. So that was our fault. And so this year we made the upload available. And so Triadic has a file. I haven't tested their most recent submission. It's on my list of things for today. Tyler, I know, is aware of the file. I'm not sure if they've built it out for their users or not. And for those of you who are using other systems or manage your own data, we certainly can circulate this format, and anyone who can get their numbers into the format can upload. It's not like it's some difficult format. It's just a CSV. Hopefully that answered your question, Mike.
It did, thank you.
I think Edward's asking, can we do both? Meaning, can you upload data and then type in some things? If that is your question, yes, because the upload just populates data into the form. It doesn't submit it for you. So, click in the wrong place. So it's just going to fill out the form for you. You'll still need to hit complete, but let's say, it puts a 500 here and you want that to be 499 after the upload, you can always go in and change it before you complete. The upload is purely pre-populating data for you. It's just to save you the step of having to type. You'll still have to hit complete, and you still have the flexibility to edit anything you choose to. Any other questions? All right, Jacqueline, I think I'm going to hand it back to you then.
There was a quick question from Valencia County just now.
Can you provide the count? Yes, we can. I'll send it to PTD, and then you guys can circulate accordingly, Jacqueline. Does that work?
Sounds good.
So I'm all set otherwise, so I don't know. I'll hand it back to you.
Thanks, Dave. Appreciate it. Sorry about that. Can everybody hear me? I hope so. Okay, so key points that you actually need to remember for the abstract when submitting to us is, or are rather, take note of all of these, remember them, write them down, whatever you have to do, because they play a part in some of the questions we ask you and things like that. So abstract values may or may not differ from certified values. This will depend on any changes that were made to your county's property tax schedule between certification and abstracts, such as settled protests, changes, corrections, so on and so forth. Your assessor's net taxable value must be greater than or equal to the assessor's values that were certified at the end of July. To get the total non-residential value, you will add both the non-res value plus the ag value. If your abstract values are lower than your certified values, we will contact you for corrections and or justification, which will obviously be forwarded to DFA, and they will use it how they use it. Just remember that the assessor's net taxable value plus the ag and livestock gives you your base values, which will be utilized on next year's certification. Excuse me. This bureau must compile the final valuation statistics from the abstracts and submit them to DFA on or before December 31st. So your abstracts are due to us on or before October 1st. And amongst our other projects, we will look at your abstracts and get back to you guys, hopefully before the Christmas holidays, since everybody goes on vacation. Just as with certification, your contacts have remained the same. We have not managed to scare anybody else off. So Jess still has the 5 counties. I still have my same counties. Felicia, Thomas, and Amanda are still with us. So they still have the same counties assigned to them as well. Any questions for this portion of the presentation? A quick correction. I didn't make this correction, but Bernalillo County, you have been reassigned to Jess. So I no longer have you. So from here on out, Jess will have your county.
Okay, thank you for the heads up.
No questions? Quick and easy. I thank you guys for being here. Have a great day.
Hello?
Hello?
Jackie, this is Charles from McKinley County, and I was just looking at the calendar. October 1st falls on Sunday, so they're due October 2nd, correct?
Yes, if they fall on a weekend or holiday, it's automatically due the next business day.
Just want to make sure. Thank you.
Uh-huh.
Thank you.